Last time we stopped at the completion of section 6, so we start with section 7, and we read the content first. Subhuti, what do you think? Has the Tathagata obtained supreme enlightenment, or arrived at the highest, most fulfilled, awakened mind? Does the Tathagata give any teaching? Subhuti replied, as I understand the meaning of the Buddha's teaching, there is no fixed Dharma called supreme enlightenment, and there is also no fixed Dharma that Tathagata can expound. There is no independently existing object of mind called the highest, most awakened mind, nor is there any independently existing teaching from the Tathagata. Why? The Dharma which the Tathagata expounds cannot be clung to and cannot be expressed in words. It is neither Dharma nor not Dharma. Why is this? All Bhattras and Aryas differ on account of the eternal asamskrita Dharma, because the noble teachers are only distinguished from others in terms of the unconditioned. This is quite profound. If you don't have explanation, probably you don't know what it means. So let's analyze, let's talk about the first paragraph of section 7. The Buddha asked Subhuti another question. Subhuti, what do you think? Has the Tathagata obtained supreme enlightenment? Tathagata, you know what Tathagata means already, right? It's one of the 10 epithets of the Buddha. The Buddha has 10 names. So Tathagata in the Chinese language is Ru Lai. It's a Sanskrit word meaning coming and going and not coming and not going. Subhuti, what do you think? Has the Tathagata obtained supreme enlightenment? If I put it in other words, the Buddha realized unexcelled perfect enlightenment? Does the Tathagata give any such teaching, or the Buddha give any such teaching as supreme perfect enlightenment? So in the previous sections, the Buddha told Subhuti to let go of the Dharma once they have served the purpose. So once you let go of ego, personality, beings, and life, you let go of that. Once you let go of that, you don't cling to it anymore, and you serve the purpose, because by letting go of the ego, there's no more ego. No more ego, no more mental defilements. No more ego, no more I. You must understand it is because of the ego that bring us into trouble. Egoistic, the ego. We are always living in the prison of our own ego. We have analyzed that in details already. First time comers, of course, you haven't got, you may not understand what ego means. Ego is the prisons that bind you. It's not a good thing for you. You live in your own ego. And if you don't know anything about it, think about it. Why did I live in my own prison, my ego prison? Why do I suffer? Why do I get greedy? Why do I have all these mental defilements? What are mental defilements? Greedy, hatred, anger, jealousy, disappointment, anxiety, fear, envy, disgruntled, you name it. All these things in our mind. It arises from the ego. So, once you know the Dharma, you practice the Dharma, you let go of all that. When you let go of all that, you already have the Dharma, you let go of all that. It's just like the raft that you have used to cross the waters, once you reach the destination, you must not cling to the raft anymore. Don't attach to the Dharma anymore. Why is this important? Why is it all repeated all the time? There must be a reason for repeating it. Because when you're meditating, I don't want to have any thought. I have no thought. If I have no thought, what's going to be good? What's going to be next? What's going to be next? You're attaching to the Dharma. You think there is a Dharma after no thought. Because when everything, it's just like if I give you a simile, using meditation as a simile. We habitually put on a lot of jackets, a lot of clothes. One jacket could be the jacket of greediness, the jacket of jealousy, the jacket of hatred, the jacket of ego, we put on a lot of jackets. Imagine that. We're living habitually and we put on a lot of jackets since birth. By practicing the enlightenment, you're taking it off. You take off the jacket of ego, you're taking the jacket off, and then after taking the jacket of ego off, and then personality, and then with all this Dharma expounded to you, you are able, in your meditation and your practice, you're going to let go of the jacket. Once you let go of the jacket, there's another jacket. Once you let go of the jacket, once you have no thought, you let go of the no thought. Once all the jackets are gotten rid of, what do you have? Once you empty everything, we call it emptiness. Once you empty all these different jackets, what do you think? What have you got? Some people get fearful. Well, if I empty everything, do I live in emptiness, void, nothing? Just like the river, the waters, the river, the original river. The river is all pure to start with. Original nature of the river is pure, just one purity. And then all these pollutants come in. Pollute the river, the waters. And we're in the process of assuming that the river is in the process of taking away all the pollutants. The river is not going to worry if all the, what would I have if all, what do I feel if all the pollutants are gone? What am I? Who am I? Who am I when all the pollutants are gone? When all the pollutants are gone, you return to your original pure nature. That is your original self. When you get rid of all these mental defilements, when you get rid of greediness, hatred, ignorance, ego, personalities, being, space, time, and all that, when you get rid of all that, what have you got? What will you get? Why do you want to get something? You're always in the process of getting something. Anything you want to get is not what you should get. It's not to be obtained. In the Chinese language, 无有一法可得. There's no Dharma that we should obtain. There's no any Dharma you obtain is not the Dharma. If you try to obtain it, what would I got? What is the next coming to me? You don't need it. You don't need it. When you empty out everything, when you clear away all the pollutants, what comes up? Originality comes up. The real original purity nature comes up. What is that? When it comes up, you have it. Then you know it. Then you know what it is. So it's always, the very high level Dharma masters always say, when not a single Dharma left, what comes up? Prajna comes up. When nothing left, when you get rid of everything, what comes up? Nothing comes up, it's just the Dharma, the Prajna is there. So we should empty the Dharmas, don't attach to the Dharma. And then later the Buddha also told Subhuti to let go of the concept of no God Dharma. If you talk about, don't attach to the Dharma, that's the Dharma, don't attach to the Dharma. Not attaching to the Dharma is another attachment. Even no Dharma has to be forgone, has to be let go. So the Buddha knows that Subhuti has not yet grasped this meaning, that he is still attached to the no Dharma of no Dharmas. You are attached to the no Dharma of no Dharma. Hence, he raises the subject of Dharma again, and he asked the question, did the Buddha realize any such Dharma as supreme perfect enlightenment? Did the Buddha realize supreme perfect enlightenment? What is supreme perfect enlightenment? Do you know what is it in Sanskrit? Supreme perfect enlightenment. In the original Sanskrit word, the Chinese version does not translate. They didn't translate that into supreme and excelled perfect enlightenment. They just used the original Sanskrit. Sometimes in translation, since ancient times, when the Chinese monks translate sutras into English, they set up a whole body of law of translation. In some sentences, they don't even translate the meaning. They keep the sound. Because why? Because its meaning is so profound that there's no word for it. The Chinese has no word for it, so they just keep the sound. In this case, they keep the sound. In the Chinese language, if I repeat it, it says, did the Tathagata obtain anuttara samya sambuddhi? Or did the Buddha obtain supreme perfect enlightenment? Anuttara samya sambuddhi. What is anuttara samya sambuddhi? Anuttara is nothing would be on its top. In other words, it's unexcelled. Nothing is above it. Anuttara. A-N-U-T-T-A-R-A. Anuttara samya. Samya sambuddhi. Anuttara samya sambuddhi, it's equal, is equal and perfect. Buddhi is enlightenment. So the Buddha asked Subhuti a question. Did the Buddha realize anuttara samya sambuddhi? Did the Buddha give any such teaching as anuttara samya sambuddhi? And this time Subhuti is very intelligent. He gives the right answer. The reply is, as I understand the meaning of the Buddha's teaching, there is no such fixed Dharma called supreme enlightenment. And there is also no such fixed Dharma that the Buddha, Tathagata, can expound. So Subhuti replied that there is no such fixed Dharma as supreme perfect enlightenment, as we should not attach to the Dharma. And then Subhuti gave the reason for it. Why? The Dharma which the Tathagata expounds cannot be clung to and cannot be expressed in words. It is neither Dharma nor not Dharma. It is not Dharma, but then it is not Dharma. So in other words, thinking about you're getting rid of all these different clothes of attachment. First of all, the ego and then personality. You take these clothes off. When you're meditating, you take all these thoughts, all these pollutants one by one. Similar, you're taking all these clothes of pollutants off until you see your real self. So Subhuti responded by saying the Dharma of the Tathagata should not be clung to. Also, to say that that is not Dharma and cling to the notion of no Dharma. You should not cling to the notion of no Dharma too. So he said it is neither Dharma or not Dharma. It is not Dharma, it is not Dharma. If you say it is not Dharma, then there's a problem to beginners in understanding the Dharma too, because it is such a Dharma that is necessary for us to learn and practice. It is not, we should not attach to it, but we need it. We should not attach to it. It does not mean that we don't need it. We do not attach to the raft does not mean that we don't need the raft to cross the waters. We should not forgo the Dharma. Only when we know it, then we'll let it go. So the teaching is called Dharma, and we need it, but we do not attach to it. So to say it is Dharma is not right. To say it is not Dharma is not right. It is neither Dharma nor not Dharma. You understand what I mean? Yeah, they understand. I know you understand. Yeah. Then what is it? If it is neither Dharma nor not Dharma, then what is it? You have already got the answer. You ask if it is neither Dharma is not Dharma, or is neither Dharma nor not Dharma. Then what is it? You ask the question. Then what is it? You already got the answer. It is neither Dharma nor not Dharma. Why do we have to label a name and call it certain thing? You always look for a name to label it, to stereotype it. You always look for words. The Buddha's teaching is beyond words. It's incomprehensible. You can't use a word. You always blindly believe in the magic of words, of language. You always want that label. This is good, this is bad, this is love, this is hatred, this is ugly, this is beautiful. You always want to label that. Why? Because that comes from the ego. This guy is bad, this guy is good. You always live in a world of duality and discrimination. You always to identify it accordingly, according to your habits, according to your culture, according to your background. You stereotype, you label things. It's wrong. It's not that way. Here comes a good guy, he's very kind at heart, but he has an ugly face, and you label him as a bad guy because of his appearance. You don't label. So, the Buddhist teaching should not be clung to, should not be grasped as a fixed expression. It is neither Dharma nor not Dharma. Here, I already have given you the example, wearing a lot of jackets, and I already have given you the example of the river. So, at its originality, the river is pure in nature. Its water is absolutely one purity. Then pollutants come in and make it dirty. Like the original mind. It's just like our mind. It is just purity. Then ignorance comes in through many causes and make it polluted. When we practice enlightenment, we're trying to purify it. And after all the pollutants of the mind are cleared out, purity reveals itself. Don't add any Dharma to the purity. It is original and has not changed a bit since time immemorial. Since very, very long time ago, its original nature is pure. So the next paragraph. Why is this? All Bhattras and Aryas differ on account of eternal asamskrita Dharma. Because the noble teachers are only distinguished from others in terms of the unconditioned. What are Bhattras and Aryas? Bhattras is a Sanskrit word. Aryas is a Sanskrit word. Bhattras means saints and sages. Aryas also. That's why we have the English word, the Aryan race. So all sages and saints, they differ on account of eternal asamskrita Dharma. What is asamskrita? Asamskrita means unconditioned, means uncreated. What is the meaning of uncreated? In the Vedas, V-E-D-A-S, Vedas, very ancient Indian sutras, it usually means the word asamskrita, means uncreated, not subject to creation or destruction. Everything here is subject to creation and destruction. Every bit. All matters are subject to creation and destruction. But asamskrita, that means it's uncreated. It means it's not subject to that, not subject to causality, no causes and no effect. Things are not subject to causes, conditions, or dependent on causes and conditions. It is out of the boundary of time and space. It is eternal, it is inactive. In the Chinese language, we call it Wu Wei, the asamskrita, Lao Tzu's philosophy. That means in that state, it's beyond causes and effect. There's asamskrita. So, Subhuti said, all saints and sages, because originally, what's the question being asked? The Buddha said, the Buddha said, did the Buddha realize any anuttara samya sambuddhi? Did the Buddha realize any supreme perfect enlightenment? And then Subhuti said, no, because we shouldn't be attaching to it. So the Buddha didn't realize it, and the Buddha actually didn't teach it because we should not attach to it. And his answer is, there's no such thing as a fixed Dharma. There's no such Dharma. Why did he say there's no fixed Dharma? Because Dharma appear to different people as different. Even if you are in realization, the Samskrita is realization, Wu Wei, in beyond, even if you are beyond causes and effect. In other words, you reach a certain higher level of the saints and sages, even in that level, there's differences in understanding. No fixed Dharma. And everybody's understanding in here, in our group, for example, we're all different. There's no fixed Dharma you're talking about. There's no fixed procedures, no fixed Dharma. Why? Because everybody's mind is different. How can there be fixed Dharma? There's no fixed Dharma to talk about. So you don't use just one medicine for all people. The Buddha is not using medicine, his Dharma, for all people, no. If a doctor is using one medicine for all patients, there's going to be a problem. There's no such thing. Different patients need different medicine. Different patients have different problems. How can you use one medicine to cure all patients? So there's no such fixed Dharma. Even if saints and sages, they arrive at a nirvana, a realization, they still have to practice because they have to different levels. For example, in the Theravada approach, Sravaka approach, Theravada approach, do you remember in the Theravada, or some people call it the Hinayana, and then it's the Mahayana, the southern approach and the northern approach. The northern approach, the Mahayana. The southern approach, that's what we name it, the Hinayana, or also called the Theravada. What are the stages of enlightenment in the Theravada? You still remember? The 4 levels, right? The 4 levels in the Theravada. In Burma, they practice Theravada. There's 4 levels of enlightenment approach. And they are different in the enlightenment, in their realization. What is the first level? The first level in the Pali language is Sotapanna. In the Chinese language is 出国, 第一国, the first level. It's also translated as stream enterer. If I practice meditation, I practice the 4 contemplations, Satipatthana, contemplation of the body, feeling, contemplation of mind, contemplation of Dharma. Now, these 4 contemplations are extremely intense. Last time we talked about these 4 contemplations for about only 2 or 3 months. Actually, we should go deeper into it. Last time it's only a superficial meaning. We really should go deeper into it, also through meditation. Maybe in the future we should go deeper into it. Anapanasati is the beginning of this 4 contemplation, in and out breath. But this in and out breath is sufficient for a long time for the practice. So, if you practice the 4 Satipatthana, the 4 contemplations, and if you practice so diligently, and you're successful, and as entering into the stream of the sages. There's a stream for the sages, for the saints, and you enter into this. That's the first level, Sotapanna. When you're in that first level, you already have eliminated a major portion of your ego. The ego, your own ego, you already have. See, when the Theravada school, they practice, and if they attain Sotapanna, they must have done it diligently. They must have put in a lot of work. They must have practiced through observance of the precepts, practiced through meditation, practiced through wisdom, Vinaya, Dhyana, and Prajna, through these three columns. They must have practiced for a long time and very diligently, observed their precepts all the time, build up their wisdom, concentration, samatha, and vipassana. Then they become successful as a stream enterer, Sotapanna. What's the effect of that if you become a Sotapanna? The effect is you practice, and this body has to go one day, like everybody. So when you passed away, you will never reincarnate into the animal realm, the hell realm, and the ghost realm. You always are in the benevolent realms. If you come, you still have to come back 7 times approximately. In other words, we passed away, I already have attained Sotapanna level of enlightenment. I'm guaranteed, so to speak, not reincarnating into the 3 vicious realms anymore, because I already have eliminated a major portion of my ego. No more those vicious realms. I will only come back into 3 realms, the good realms. So I will only come back into this Kamadhatu, this world with desires. I still have to come back to this world with desires. Remember this Kamadhatu world of desires? There is Rupadhatu and Arupadhatu, right? So you still have to come back to the world of desires, because you haven't been very successful. You're only in the first stage, stream enterer. You come back 7 times into this world, and you would automatically continue to practice. You may become a monk, you may become a nun, you may become a layman. I don't know what you will become of, but you will continue to practice without recessing into the 3 vicious realms. We're not guaranteed, you and I. When we passed away, you're not guaranteed that whether you will get into the animal realm or not, or hell realm. We're not guaranteed, we don't know, because we haven't been successful in achieving it at the Sotapanna level. You still have to come back into the 6 paths of reincarnation. You reincarnate. Who determined your reincarnation? Not Buddha. You yourself, your karma, determine where you go, what you have done. If you have done only vicious deeds, you get into the vicious realms. If you've been doing killing, lying, sexual misconduct, slandering, cursing, you're doing all kinds of bad deeds, you get into the bad realms. You're responsible for your own action, your own speech, and your own thinking. Not Buddha, not God. You yourself are responsible for your own karma. So you come back 7 times. The second level is when you passed away, because you also have eliminated another major portion of your ego, which is better than the Sotapanna level. You're in the second level. The second level, Skadagamin, is you come back 1 time. You still have to come back to the world of desire. Once, translated as the once returner. You return once, still have to return once to this world of desire, which is better than 7 times, once. And then the Anagamin is non-returner. You don't return to the world of desire anymore, because you successfully have achieved the 3rd level. You don't return to the world of the Kamadhatu. You are in Rupadhatu. You are practicing in there until you become the Arahat. You are in Dhyana level, the heaven level. That's the 3rd level. Of course, that's not the ultimate place you should go. You don't come back to the world of desire anymore. In there, there's only happiness. In here, we have to struggle for a living. We have to get a job, we have to work hard to earn money, to earn your bread, your living. But in there, only happiness. No worry about livelihood. You just practice in there. One life, you could be the Arahat. That's the third level. Why? Because in your practice of Anuttara Samaya Sambuddhi, you have eliminated more and more of our ego. You see how our ego gets us into trouble? It's the ego that's responsible for our reincarnation. So once you arrive at the fourth level, the Arahat, you're out from reincarnation. No more reincarnation. You're in Nirvana. Arahat, in Nirvana. You're out from even the Rupa Dhatu and the Arupa Dhatu. You're guaranteed that you're not in suffering anymore. No reincarnation for you. Immediately, in this life, if I become an Arahat, when I die, this body out, I don't even go to the Rupa Dhatu or Arupa Dhatu. I'm out. I'm out from all this in Nirvana. So this different Dharma, different enlightenment. So that's what the last paragraph says. All Bhattras and Aryas different on account of eternal samskrita Dharma, because these sages, they're different in terms of the unconditioned, they're different in terms of their level of enlightenment, which are beyond causes and effect, beyond causality. So there's no fixed Dharma. It depends on individuals. There's no such Dharma. Don't attach to it, because after you use the raft to cross the rivers, don't attach to the raft anymore. No more Dharma. Don't attach to Dharma anymore. So in this section 7, it says, don't attach to Dharma. Don't attach to no Dharma. And there's no such thing as a fixed Dharma, because all these levels are different. And you just continue to practice. When you use the Dharma, you get rid of the first jacket, you use another Dharma to get rid of the second jacket. And don't worry about where would I go after I attain at this level. Don't worry about that. Don't label it as a Dharma. Don't think that what is that Dharma? What is that Buddha nature? What is that purity? Don't worry about it, because it comes up. Its original nature comes up. And don't label it. Don't stereotype it. It returns to its real nature. And it is exactly that purity that we are arriving at. And don't attach to the purity. I'm looking for that Buddha nature, purity. You don't have to look for it. It's there. Why do you have to? The river does not have to look for its original purity. It's just being polluted. When the pollutants are there, polluting it, it doesn't lose its nature. When the pollutants are out, there's no addition to the nature, to its nature. There's no losing, no gaining, no arising, no diminishing, no creation, no destruction. Why do you have to identify it habitually, like creation, and this is created, this is going down, this is going up? Why do you have to attach discrimination to it? No need. So this is what this section is all about. So when you practice meditation, you just continue. Don't worry about, where would I go? I've been practicing this, and I don't see myself going anymore. Then I go to the library to search another book, borrow another tape. Then I go to another Buddhist center looking for another teacher. And this teacher is no good for another teacher. It's like a rolling stone. You don't need it. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time on that. Learn the sutra. Contemplate on the sutra. Even what I tell you now, if you read the sutra, if you think about it, your wisdom level may be even higher than what I explained to you. It always happened to a lot of high masters. in the first 10 years after they get ordained, when they read the Diamond Sutra, they interpret it in this way. Another 10 years, they interpret it in a different way. It's the same words. In the first year, mountains are mountains, rivers are rivers. In the second year, mountains are not mountains, rivers are not rivers. In the third year, mountains are mountains and rivers again.